Well, good Tuesday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and let's go in and talk about the weather for your Tuesday evening moving into your future. We have a lot of stuff to break down tonight, starting off with the title South Carolina's stormy pattern is about to get worse. South Carolina's stormy pattern is about to get worse, not South Carolina. But it is. And we'll go on and talk about all those risks in just a second. But first off, what's on tap for tonight? Storms possible still this evening. Unsettled pattern Wednesday into the weekend. And then locally heavy rainfall and isolated flash flooding also possible into the weekend with some drying as we move later on into the weekend. So there is a lot going on in terms of stormy activity. And we're going to get back to that shower and storm activity as we move later on into the week and being more summertime prone. Now, what's going on in terms of currently, right now, showers and storms right now seem to not really be impacting us much. We seem to be doing pretty good throughout the entire state, dry for the majority of us. But if we go on and take a look and see what's going on throughout the entire U.S., we do have some rainfall in New York, Maine, Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, Texas, even going into the Four Corners area as well as Idaho, Montana, and then even inside of Minnesota and Wisconsin, we have a severe thunderstorm watch with a severe thunderstorm warning going on, but a lot of rainfall activity. A lot of rainfall activity. Now, what's going on in terms of cloud cover activity? Well, for right now, it looks like that we're looking mostly clear. Upstate, Midlands, PD, Grand Strand, Southern Midlands. The only area that's kind of cloudy right now is the coastal low country, moving a bit more into the further low country areas. Again, that is the risk of cloud cover for areas over here inside of the southern parts of the state. Now, what's going on for our cloud cover for the future? Well, if we go on to the 18Z real quick, and we just go on and move this forward, we're going to start this off here at 8 o'clock p.m. We push this forward, and as we get into around here, it's 12 o'clock in the morning, nice and clear. We go over to around 2 a.m. all the way through to around 5 to 6 to even 8 o'clock in the morning. We see cloud cover activity trying to converge itself over inside of the state, rather be from the upstate to the Midlands to the Low Country to the Grand Strand areas to the PD areas. You even get to around 12 o'clock p.m. and cloud cover activity tomorrow takes a huge leap. Again, this is tomorrow at 3 p.m. here, and look at how cloudy it's trying to get. We get to Wednesday afternoon here, going to Wednesday evening. Then we move into Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, and look at how cloudy it is. Again, look at how cloudy it is right now over there for the next 40 hours or so. Now, in terms of our current temperatures right now, we're talking about around a good 85 in Columbia, 83 Orangeburg, and 81 in Somerville. We're talking about 81 in Charleston, 80 inside of Georgetown, as well as 81 in Myrtle Beach, 79 Conway, as well as 81 in Beaufort, 80 Lugoff, as well as Lawrence, 80 also inside of Greenville, and 79 in Spartanburg, 78 Gaffney, York, and Rock Hill. Now, what about for our air quality? Well, as we move over into tonight, the majority of us are inside of that moderate category. Not bad, but not too great either. So if you are inside of that risk of air quality for tonight, please make sure that if you are outside for a long period of time, that you pay attention to it to make sure that it does not get too bad for you. Now, what's going on in terms of your low temperatures for tonight? We're talking about 68 in Greenville. I don't know what's up with Columbia and Charleston, but I just really like saying those two names. 68 in Greenville, as well as 66 in Spartanburg, 68 Rock Hill, and 72 in Columbia, 75 Charleston, and 72 in Georgetown, 75 Myrtle Beach and Hilton Head Island. We also have around a good 71 in Aiken and Sumter, 69 Florence and Cheraw as well. High temperatures for tomorrow, we're talking about 89 in Greenville, Spartanburg, 93 Columbia, as well as 90 in Winsboro, 92 Sumter, as well as 90 in Kingstree, Moncks Corner, 87 inside of Charleston and Georgetown. We also have around a good 86 in Myrtle Beach, 86 in Hilton Head Island, as well as 94 inside of Aiken. Now, what about for those heat index values? Well, for the most part, it looks like that we are staying more than likely inside of the 90, the high 90 to maybe even the lower 100 range, like 100 to Aiken to 101 inside of Orangeburg. It is not going to be as hot, I will say. Now, 101 degrees, still hot. Don't get me wrong. It is definitely still hot, but it's not going to be as hot as, we were kind of once seeing it. Now, as we go in and take a look over at rainfall for tonight, we can see a good amount of rainfall for the next 24 hours. 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch in areas like Spartanburg, Orangeburg, going over into areas like Aiken, and then maybe even a 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch in areas like Moncks Corner, Charleston, Georgetown, quarter of an inch to a half an inch in areas like Barnwell, going over into Hilton Head Island. And then somebody maybe even can see a half an inch to an inch of rainfall. It's definitely possible. Definitely is possible that somebody could see a half an inch to an inch. And this isn't even including flash flooding. Again, this is not even including flash flooding. So we definitely could see a couple of these areas receive more rainfall than this. Now, what about for the crazy score? Well, as we go on and move into tonight, things are calm. We have a 4 right now, which is very calm on the scale of the crazy score, as we can go all the way from 1 to 100 plus. And why? Well, things, we are seeing some cloud cover in some spots, but overall, things aren't really that bad. Not really that bad as we move over into tonight. Nice and dry, and just overall doing well. Now, the SPC outlook for tonight. There is still technically a risk of isolated severe storms, so isolated damaging wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour. That is still possible as we move over into tonight. But I think that the risk has gone down, and I don't really see us really getting too much in that severe weather risk as we move later on into tonight. I think that we're mainly done with this risk of severe weather, just because we're not seeing any precipitation right now throughout the state, and it's not active. Everybody right now is staying dry, if not mostly, like 99.95% of the state right now being dry. Tomorrow, still, thunderstorms are possible, but watch how widespread it gets. Everybody in the state Wednesday has a risk of thunderstorm activity. Doesn't matter where you are, from the upstate to the Midlands to the Low Country to the Grand Strand to the PD, you have a risk of thunderstorm activity as we move over into tomorrow. And then as we move over into Thursday as well, same thing on the clock here. Thunderstorms are possible for the entire state. Doesn't matter if you're from the upstate, the Midlands, the Low Country, you have a risk of thunderstorm activity. Excessive rainfall. No risk of excessive rainfall really for tonight. I mean, they still have it here just from earlier, but I think that we're mainly done with isolated flash flooding for tonight. Tomorrow spreads a lot further. Now we have the upstate, the Midlands, the Low Country, all the Grand Strand, most of the PD, and really just the northern areas of the state up here is still kind of out of it, like Gaffney, Rock Hill, Lancaster, Bennetteville. But these areas, even though they're not included in it, it's summertime storms. Summertime storms can cause whatever they want to cause. They can cause flooding. They can cause damaging winds. They can cause some small hail with it if, they form right. And so this is kind of what we're looking at right here. And we're going to take a look at the models later to see what in the world, kind of happens here. But for right now, most of the state have a risk of isolated flash flooding as we move over into tomorrow. Now, what about for Thursday? It expands even more. In fact, we now have a slight risk of excessive rainfall for Thursday over here in areas like Walhalla, Anderson, Greenwood, Edgefield, Aiken. Those areas have a 15% risk of flash flooding for Thursday here. Everybody else, you're inside the green. 5% risk. That's the Low Country, the Grand Strand, the PD, the Midlands, even in the eastern upstate. Now, what about for Friday? Friday, same thing, just the slight risk is gone. Everybody has a risk of isolated flash flooding. And then on Saturday, another risk of isolated flash flooding over here from Newbury to Columbia, all the way down towards the coastal areas like coastal Low Country, coastal Grand Strand areas. Those areas all have a risk of flash flooding as you move over into Friday. Or Saturday, excuse me. Technically Friday too, but Saturday as well. So this could definitely impact a lot of plans. Definitely could impact a lot of plans here. Now, again, isolated, still far out. Things are going to change, but for right now, this is kind of what we're just looking at. Kind of just what we're looking at right now. So let's go on now and take a look at the models. Time is at the bottom part of your screen. Please make sure that you pay attention to that, as that is very, 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 very important to look at. We're going to start off here in the short-term future first. Let me bring my microphone down. There we go. I'm going to go on and start off with the short-term future first. And we're just going to start off here at around 8 o'clock p.m. Just pushing this forward. You can see that things are staying dry for the most part tonight. Not being too bad. But then watch as we get into around here's 5 a.m. going all the way to 6 a.m., to maybe 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning or so, we start to see some shower and storm activity start to move its way up from the coastal Grand Strand areas up into some inland areas by 9 a.m. onward. Here's around 12 p.m. or so going into noon tomorrow. And again, rainfall activity doesn't really seem too much. It looks mostly dry throughout the entire state. Now, what about for the long-term future? We're going to start off here at the 48-hour mark here on Thursday. We go on and push this forward and watch how active it gets. And this is kind of where the title kind of comes into play. Remember, the title for the stream tonight is South Carolina's stormy pattern is about to get worse. Again, South Carolina's stormy pattern is about to get worse. And we can definitely start to see that kind of already as we go into Thursday here. Watch how stormy it's getting into Friday as well. Friday, getting a lot of rainfall. Saturday, we could get a lot of rainfall as well. And then Sunday, things calm down a little bit, especially as we move into Monday, just due to a high pressure kind of moving in. Even Tuesday and Wednesday comes in. And then, I mean, just look at how dry it is getting into Wednesday and Thursday of next week. Now, as we move into Friday of next week, things, still looking pretty dry, but still looking like a regular summertime day of summertime showers and storms that could potentially happen. We move into next weekend here, and rainfall still there, but again, nothing too big, like no big storm systems or anything like that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the GEFS in terms of how much rainfall we could potentially receive over the next 384 hours. Well, according to the GEFS, it looks like that we're mostly looking at around maybe high 1 inches to around 2.3, 2.6. What is that? Close to 3 inches up here in the upstate. That is 3 inches. So around 2 to 3 inches of rainfall, according to the GEFS, as an average as we move throughout the next 384 hours. That is going into September 10th. So we have a long ways to go there until we get to that date. But, kind of in between there, we could see 2 to 3 inches of rainfall, not including flash flooding. Remember, this is just an average. It may happen, maybe less, maybe more. Really just depends on how those storms play out. And then what about for the European model? Well, we're talking about areas around the upstate, around 1.3, 1.4 inches of rainfall. Areas over here near the coastal areas could be from around 3.9 to 4 inches of rainfall over the next 360 hours. And honestly, we're looking like we are pretty good in terms of rainfall for areas down over here in the coastal areas that need it. Everybody else, areas of the upstate, an inch of rainfall or more is still, a good amount of rainfall. But for 360 hours, it's not as much maybe as you would want to see, especially if you want to see, a little bit more of that drought go away in the upstate, because the upstate still technically does have a drought, not as bad as like the low country and the Grand Strand, but definitely want to see that drought go away as well. So hopefully get a good amount of rainfall there, hopefully. And then as we go in and take a look over at our temperatures, because precipitation is important. Precipitation is important and good to look at, but temperatures is also pretty good to look at as well. We start off here at 2 o'clock p.m. on Thursday, pushing this over into Friday and Saturday, and we actually start to look a little bit below average as we move into Friday and Saturday, getting over into Sunday and onward. It doesn't look that bad, it really doesn't, but as we start off the week next week, a high pressure comes in and things get hot quick. We get over into Wednesday. Look at Wednesday of next week. We're back up into the 15 to 20 degree above average range. We get to Thursday, we're still around 15 to 20 degrees above average. Moving into Friday and then Saturday, we are still above average. But then as we move into next weekend, it just gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And it doesn't seem like that it's really going to stop too much. So, rather if there is something in place like a cold front that could come in, and potentially try and stop this from happening, right now, it looks like that right now that at least the GEFS or the GFS, excuse me, is not really too key and not really too like zoned in on the fact that there could, not really be too much of any cooler air trying to move its way through. So doesn't really believe that too much. Doesn't really believe that. Could this be a heat bias? I mean, maybe. It's almost over 300. It is over 300 hours, so that could be a reason. But for right now, we are kind of just staying in the zone of it potentially being below average, kind of moving all the way into next week. But then as next week hits, we're above average. Now, what's going on in terms of our actual temperatures themselves? We start off here on Thursday afternoon, moving over into Friday. Friday comes in, and we're in the 90s or so. Even Saturday comes in, high 80s, lower 90s. But things don't really look that bad. Even as you move into Monday of next week, for example, we're in the mid 90s, maybe trying to get to the upper 90s a little bit. So you can start to see those temperatures start to get up a lot. And then as we get into Wednesday of next week, when it really starts to get back to being hot, we may start to see some hundreds come back. Thursday comes in hundreds. Friday comes in more hundreds. And then one thing that I will say is that this is here now for the second day in a row. Remember, yesterday, it wasn't there, this heat wasn't really here for the morning, but it was there for the afternoon and the evening. And now it's showing up again for a second day in a row. So could this potentially be something? Maybe. And we may have to start watching for this late heat wave that we may have going into early September. And then as we go in and take a look at our heat index values as well, kind of moving forward into that Wednesday or so of September, first Wednesday of September, we start to see some of those temperatures getting up into around 105, 106 or so, 107, 108, and getting right back to being hot. And then what about for the mean temperatures? We move this over into the 3rd of September and onward. You can kind of see those temperatures even from the ensemble perspective here. You're seeing that those temperatures are still being up kind of high. I think as we move back a couple of runs, it was not this hot. Like we go, let's say Sunday the 0Z, it was not this hot. So the ensembles have been trending towards a warmer, yes, a warmer pattern as we get over into the next 300 plus hours or so. So that's not great if you wanted to see cooler temperatures. Not the greatest thing because, like I said, could be trending towards a warmer start to the month of September. Maybe even as we move towards mid-September, it could still try to be a little bit warm. But that's pretty much all I have to say here in terms of the models here. So we're going to go on real quick and take a look at the Hurricane Center outlook because we have 2 areas of interest. One of them we're not watching for because it is about to die off. The other one we are watching for. Disturbance 1. This is the area that we are watching for. This is in the Eastern Tropical Atlantic. Invest 96L. Again, this is Invest 96L. So this does have some models on it. This does have a satellite image towards it. And this is what the satellite image looks like right now as we currently speak, moving its way just to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands. And speaking of, what's going on besides it kind of being over there, well, it seems like an area of low pressure located along a tropical wave a few hundred miles southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands continues to produce shower and thunderstorm activity. Displaced kind of southwest towards the center. This activity has changed little in organization this evening, but environmental conditions remain somewhat favorable for gradual development over the next couple of days. A tropical depression is likely to form over the next day or two as the system moves west to west-northwest across the eastern and the central tropical Atlantic. Though environmental conditions are forecast to become less favorable for development by this weekend. So this has a 70% chance of forming over the next 48 hours, and then a 70% chance over the next 7 days. So this has a high chance, high ceiling, high chance of forming here, and honestly a pretty high floor as well. But to be honest, this is in the main development region. The areas, kind of are there, and models are pretty confident on it. For example, this is the global hurricane models right here. A lot of the hurricane models have it kind of curving out before it really does anything to South Carolina, but a couple of them try to stay more down towards the south and west. And so, what will those models do if they do continue their way down towards the south and west? Could it impact South Carolina? We didn't rule it out yesterday that it was completely out of the possibility because I don't think it is. Really, do not think that it is. Then, as we go over into the GEFS again. You see most of them curving out towards C, but a couple of them try to move their way closer towards the U.S. And you see the same trend that we see with this one than what we saw with the last one, the last invest that didn't really do anything. and kind of died out. You see the weaker ones are trending their way closer to South Carolina, and the stronger ones are pushing their way out to sea. That's that's the same thing that we've been seeing here, and honestly, almost like the same thing that we've been seeing in terms of just the tropics over the years. It's just those storms that continue to curve their way out towards sea strengthen very quickly. They fight, obviously, for latitude, and so as they try to get north quicker, the stronger they get, the more capable they are of doing it, while the weaker ones can't really do as much, and then when they intensify later on, then you can start to see like it start to curve. Like, for example, this one over here, probably should choose a different color, but this one over here, um, it turns strong late, and when it does, it starts to go up and gets up towards the north. See all of these strong ones that we have over here going up towards the north. The weaker ones going over towards the west. So that's kind of what we're looking at here in terms of these models and just in terms of the strength of this thing overall. Speaking of strength, how far could this thing go? Most models are saying at least a tropical storm. Some of them say hurricane category 1 strength. One saying category 2. Nobody's saying category 3 yet, at least for now. But for right now, category 2 seems to be the max according to the models right now. And then, I'm just going to switch over to cloud cover real quick, but if we go in and take a look real quick at the individual models themselves, then we'll go in and talk with the audience. But look at the individual models themselves. We're taking a look here at the GFS first. This is the individual deterministic model here. And we're going to start off here on the 25th here at 8 p.m. You see rainfall activity and all of this tropical activity over here with the storm moves its way up towards the north and west and actually tries to strengthen a little bit. You see it kind of stays stationary, and then it actually starts to like form very, very quickly, and it starts to strengthen very, very quickly. This thing's a 960. That's like category 2, category 3 right there, over there in the Atlantic, causing, definitely would cause some issues for Bermuda. I mean, that shows a direct major hurricane going towards Bermuda going into September the 9th there. I know that that's a long ways away, but just look at how long this thing stays. And then it just stays out to sea, strengthening, and then just pummels its way towards Bermuda. I mean, that is, something that we don't really see too often. But according to the GFS, it's happening. It stays stationary pretty much for, let's see, it stays stationary for like 3 or 4 days, not moving at all, and then it finally starts to move away. Now, I always say this is one model run. Don't, take this information and just start spreading it saying, oh, well, SC Weather or Joseph said that it was going to stay stationary over at sea and that Bermuda's about to get hit with a category 3, 4, 5 hurricane. It's going to be crazy. No, I did not say that. I'm just saying that this is what the models are saying now, but the fact that the models are saying it doesn't mean that it's impossible. You go in and take a look at the European now as well. The European completely destroys this thing. Doesn't really have it, doing too much. Kind of just skirmishing out, going away. The CMC, kind of on the same track, but with the European kind of dies out. Brings some good rainfall to areas like Puerto Rico, Haiti, Dominican Republic, but that's about it. And then the Icon model here, bringing in also a good amount of rainfall to those areas and may produce some tropical storm force conditions to like Puerto Rico later on. But all opportunities here are on the table. They really are. Really. And so that's why I always say make sure that you have your hurricane plan in place. Make sure that you have your evacuation plans in place just in case if stuff, hits the fan. Because, this definitely could, which I think the next name is Dolly, but this thing could form into something pretty bad, potentially. Not guaranteed, but potentially. But that's pretty much all I have to say here in terms of the tropics. No earthquakes today, no new drought updates. So we're going to go on right now and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. That says, good evening, gentlemen, the 360 Weather family. Well, good evening to you. I trust all is well with everyone. It was another blistering day here in San Antonio. Today's high was 102. We are still under the heat advisory until tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if they extended it. Absolutely. Absolutely. And honestly, just your forecast for you, like this is for you for tonight. And just for your future, you're going to stay up into the upper 90s. So definitely they could. But the only thing is your threshold, because for your heat advisories over there, I don't know what the threshold is for the National Weather Service of Austin and San Antonio is. But it says temperatures up to 105 and heat index values up to 110. If you look at their hourly forecast for you, like tomorrow you're going to be up into the hundreds or so, even going into Thursday. So I think that they probably will. If not, that also wouldn't surprise me too much either, because like I said, I don't know what your thresholds are, so I'm not gonna really put out a big prediction on it. But you stay hot all the way through into next week. And then Trail says, "Greetings everyone, greetings to you. My Nana says hello, Jay and all. It was a nice day out. Didn't finish all, but got about half done. Well, thank you so much for that report out there saying that it was nice out, and I'm glad that you got a good amount done, even if it was only half. But that's all I have to say here for tonight. In terms of the chat, again, if you want to go on and say something inside the chat, you definitely still can. And if you did not watch that extraordinary forecast that I just gave out a couple of minutes ago, that just kind of wrapped up, make sure that or the main part of the forecast, make sure that you go on and rewind the stream and check that out, because I think that was a very informative forecast that we had, especially for when it came to the tropics and when it came to rainfall for the next 300 plus hours. So please make sure you go in and rewind that, or check the video out. That'll be posted at around probably 9 o'clock or so, somewhere around there. But let's go on now and ask the top fan question of the night. You might be asking, top fan question, what am I asking? What am I talking about? It's a question that I asked to see who was paying attention, and whoever gets this question correct first will win the top fan of the night for tonight. So I'm going to go back to excessive rainfall. There was a specific day in question that had a slight risk of excessive rainfall. What was that day? Again, there is a specific day for the next 5 days that had a slight risk of excessive rainfall for part of the state. What day was it? And whoever gets it correct first will win top fan of the night for tonight and have bragging rights until tomorrow evening, unless they win again. But for right now, that's the question. So literally, anybody can answer. It doesn't matter if you were present or not. All you have to do is put some random day inside of the chat, and you could potentially win the top fan of the night for tonight and bragging rights with it. So, seems pretty simple to me. Just literally any day of the week, and you will potentially win. But I'm gonna let them go on and answer that out, and see what we have here. But we're going to go on and take a look at the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 areas, what am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly, and because they tune in almost nightly, we go in and give them their forecast for them. We're going to start off with San Antonio first. Low temperatures tonight at 77, high temperatures for tomorrow at 103, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 78. No precipitation tonight or tomorrow. And then just in terms of rainfall for the next 7 days, you may or may not remember, but yesterday we were talking about it, and you do have a chance of rainfall going into Thursday. You have a 30%, so it has increased. It was a 20%, now it's a 30%. So you have a 30% chance of rainfall and maybe even thunderstorm activity going into Thursday. So that could be something to watch for there for sure. Now, tomorrow, like I said, going to be hot, dry. And other than Thursday, you're going to be dry for the majority of the week. So, and going even into early next week as well. So it's not, still not going to be the best for you. Definitely still not going to be the best, but it's going to be an improvement potentially on Thursday. Now, for severe weather, no risk of severe weather. In terms of excessive rainfall, you have no risk of excessive rainfall. Now, what about for Raleigh, North Carolina? You have low temperatures tonight at 63, high temperatures for tomorrow at 91, low temperatures tomorrow night at 71, no precipitation for the next 24 hours, but as you move over into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, chance of rainfall for all of those days. Friday, you have an 80% chance of rainfall, Saturday a 60%, Thursday, a 40%. So you have a chance of rainfall and a good chance of rainfall for the next couple of days, except for Wednesday, tomorrow. But then once you hit Sunday and onward, things look to be dry for you. Now, as we go in and take a look at your excessive rainfall and risk of severe weather, you do have a risk for some excessive rainfall Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So isolated flash flooding possible Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then for severe weather, you're good there. I see two answers, both from Thad, Sunday and Thursday. Sunday and Thursday. And I am pleased to announce that Thursday was the correct answer for tonight. So congratulations to Thad for winning the top fan of the night for tonight. If you want to be like that and win top fan of the night, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel because you can't type if you're not a subscriber. Also, make sure that you go on and hit the, make sure that you're paying attention, make sure that you're typing inside the chat because anything's, fair game. I could ask a question. I could see maybe who sent me in a weather photo at scweather360.com. I could check and see who gave the best weather update, which I still haven't done it yet, but, may do it someday. You never know. Or, I can just see, anything. Anything's fair game from start to finish. So again, congratulations to you. We're going to move over to Philadelphia and then Duncan, and then we'll move on to the entire U.S. For Philadelphia, low temperatures tonight at 64, high temperatures for tomorrow at 87, low temperatures tomorrow night at 71, no precipitation tonight or tomorrow, but on Thursday, isolated severe storms are possible for you on Thursday. And then for excessive rainfall, you have a risk of excessive rainfall for Thursday, and that's it for you. That's it. Now, as we go in and take a look at your future, it does look like that you continue to kind of just stay more inside of that 80-degree range, not really leaving it. You may try to get to 90 early next week, but you most likely just stay in the 80s. You get over into Thursday, Friday, chance of rainfall for those 2 days. But other than that, dry. And then finally for Duncan, Oklahoma, low temperatures tonight at 76, high temperatures tomorrow only at 99, low temperatures tomorrow night at 72. So, you may not see 100s, come into play until possibly later on into like this weekend. So you may get a little bit of a break here from those very, very, very hot and dangerous temperatures. For excessive rainfall, you actually do have a risk of some isolated flash flooding tonight. And there is a shower that's actually right now heading towards you in that trajectory, about to pass through Lawton soon, and could make its way towards you like over around like the next hour or so. So that may happen. We'll see if that shower keeps going, if it continues to, if it just continues to move its way over, or is it just going to go away, fizzle out? That's a possibility. Chance of thunderstorms tonight, tomorrow, slight chance of thunderstorms, and then tomorrow night, slight chance of shower activity. And then other than that, you're pretty much good. And then for severe weather, no risk of severe weather, you're good. So let's see what's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise. Well, it seems like right now that thunderstorms, some severe, will impact areas of the plains into the Midwest today. Rainfall can be locally heavy as well from these storms with isolated instances of flash flooding. Monsoonal flow will also enhance rainfall across the Four Corners into the Central Rockies today. Meanwhile, summer heat continues for the southern plains, the Southwest, and then also Southern California. So we could see a good amount of areas see a good amount of weather from the central U.S. being hot in Texas to the Southwest in California, Nevada, going over into Arizona, and being hot, for example, areas in like Las Vegas, for example. Las Vegas, their high temperatures are close to 110 degrees as you move over into tomorrow. Even inside of, parts of Dallas, for example, Dallas high temperatures for tomorrow is going to be 103. And right now it's still 99. So those are just a couple of temperatures right there that kind of just show you how hot it truly is. And then severe weather as well being also a main concern tonight in areas of Texas, Panhandle, Oklahoma, eastern Colorado, Nebraska. Chance of severe weather tomorrow in areas from Wyoming down into New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Illinois, Indiana, Detroit. And then Thursday, risk of severe weather for the Northeast in areas like Vermont, New York, Pennsylvania, going down into Kentucky. So there's a lot of stuff kind of going on here in terms of severe weather. If you know anybody in those areas, let them know severe weather is coming for them, heat's coming for them, anything all along those lines. And that's pretty much all I have to say here in terms of the forecast for tonight. If you have not hit the like button yet or the subscribe button yet, please go on and do so. We're trying to get to that main goal of 900 by the end of September, and then also trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. Remember, as I said yesterday, I can do, a good amount. I've gotten a lot of people to subscribe, but, obviously I can't do it by myself. Cannot do it by myself. So please, share with all the people that you know, friends, family members, acquaintances, people that you don't talk to regularly, because it's free and it always will be. Also, like I said, like button, subscribe button for yourself if you have not done so already. I will be back tomorrow morning with your Wednesday morning forecast update. Make sure that you are there for that. Also, tomorrow evening, 8 o'clock p.m., same time, Wednesday evening forecast update for the midweek forecast. Let's just get through tomorrow, and then we will be halfway through the work week already.